Fight or flight? What is it and how does it affect our health? The fight or flight response refers to the physiological reaction that occurs when you are faced with a stressful or traumatic situation. This response is triggered by the release of hormones that prepare your body to either stay and deal with the threat, which is the fight response, or run away to safety, which is the flight response. In the short term, this response to stress protects the body, but in the long term, prolonged stress does more harm than good. So listen up and find out how constant stress can affect your health. First, let's talk about the acute stress response. When you face a real threat or even a perceived threat, the sympathetic nervous system is activated by the sudden release of hormones, which triggers the fight or flight response. The parasympathetic nervous system helps to calm the body once the threat is gone. When a person experiences a real stress, such as an accident, an injury, emotional stress, a trauma, the death of a loved one, a relationship breakup, a loss of a job, an environmental exposure, or whatever the stress may be, the body goes into fight or flight. It is also known that perceived stress, such as scary thoughts, can cause this fight or flight response. If you imagine a scary event, or if you're always worrying about the worst case scenarios, then this can also trigger a fight or flight response. Another example of a perceived threat could even be something like a large dog barking at you during your morning walk. You hear the dog barking, your brain goes into overdrive, and you imagine yourself being chased down by the dog. As soon as the body experiences stress or perceives stress, the nervous system prompts the adrenal glands, which are located above the kidneys, to release hormones such as adrenaline and cortisol. Adrenaline is a hormone that makes the heart beat faster, causes your blood pressure to rise, and gives you a sudden burst of energy. Cortisol is the primary stress hormone, and this hormone releases glucose, or sugar, from your liver for fast energy during times of stress. The release of cortisol also slows various functions in the body that are considered to be non-essential in a fight or flight situation. For example, the immune system becomes suppressed, the digestive system slows down, and the functions associated with the reproductive system turn off. This complex alarm system also communicates with the regions of the brain that control mood, motivation, and fear. Ultimately, the acute stress response helps to protect the body from stress and then repairs the damage caused by stress once the parasympathetic system kicks in. Once a perceived threat has passed, adrenaline and cortisol levels drop. Your heart rate, blood pressure, and other systems go back to their pre-stress response state. Now, let's talk about the chronic stress response. When stressors are always present and you feel under constant attack, or if you are always worried about something, that fight or flight reaction stays turned on. The nervous system is then turned on like a radio with the volume turned way up. The long-term activation of the stress response system and excessive exposure to adrenaline, cortisol, and other stress hormones can disrupt almost all of the body's processes. If the cardiovascular system is always activated and the non-essential systems, such as the digestive system and the immune system, are always turned off, this sets up a prime environment for inflammation to set in. Fight or flight causes adrenaline to surge, and adrenaline transports sugar away from the cells. If stress is prolonged, adrenaline eventually becomes depleted and sugar builds up in the cells of the body. This excess amount of sugar allows viruses, bacteria, yeast, fungus, or other toxins to take up residence in your cells to feed off the excess sugar. These foreign invaders ultimately cause inflammation as the body tries to deal with these toxic substances. This inflammatory response over time compromises the immune system, putting you at risk for many chronic health conditions such as anxiety, depression, digestive problems, headaches, muscle tension and pain, heart disease, heart attack, high blood pressure and stroke, arthritis, fibromyalgia, cancer, diabetes, sleep problems, hormonal and reproductive disorders, weight gain, and problems with memory and focus. Although the fight or flight response is a natural and adaptive response, the bad news is that if stress is prolonged, this response can be more harmful than helpful. The good news is that thermography can show you how your body is responding to stress. And knowing how your body is functioning can help you make proactive changes to keep yourself healthy, even during times of stress.